Hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're back with another match preview today. Stockport County take on Peterborough United at Edgeley Park. Tomorrow night, Friday night football. The last game before Christmas. Also the last home game for Stockport County of 2024. And of course, as I say, game before Christmas. It could be one of Louis Barry's last games for Stockport County. And it could be his last home game for Stockport County. Or one of his last home games for Stockport County, certainly, as he gets closer to potentially being recalled again. Still nothing been said by either party, i.e. Aston Villa or Stockport County so far, but it is heavily expected. He's shortly, he's going to go back to Aston Villa in January. I can't say anything other than that happening. He's been incredible for County this season, and I do think that Villa will decide that to test him in a higher division. So that puts County in a difficult, precarious position because he's been so important for County this season, of course, and his goals have been a huge factor in County lying where they do in the table. But of course, we go into this game against Peterborough. Peterborough a little bit up and down as a football team this season. They can score a lot of goals. They can also concede a hell of a lot too. It should make for fireworks on Friday night football at Edgeley Park tomorrow night. I am looking forward to it, as I always do with County games. But I am a little bit worried that, as I say, County so reliant on Louis Barry's goals this season. And I do think it will be not his last home game for Stockport County, because I think Dave Challoner said that we've got him to at least Mansfield, which is the 4th of January. So it's one of his last 3 home games by that logic if he does get recalled. And I suppose he's into his last 5 county games on loan as well. Have I got that right? Yeah, I think they would be last 5. As we have Barnsley, we have Rotherham and Huddersfield to end the year after Peterborough, of course. So yeah, let's get into it. As I say, looking forward to it. I just want to quickly mention as well, of course, I'm sure people did recognise that I was on the Courtyard Club call on the Scarborough War as well on Sunday, dissecting the game against Stevenage. So I very much enjoyed being on that, and I'm sure I'll be back on at some point in the near future as well. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Hopefully people might have seen it. Hopefully they enjoyed it as well. And Stevenage, like I say, we went over it then. I wasn't too detailed in my analysis of it, I suppose, at the end of that vlog on Saturday. I didn't really want to talk about it too much, to be honest, after the long journey back of disappointment. I thought I enjoyed the day. I actually thought the trip was quite good. The coach journey wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, given the distance. I actually enjoyed the day. I actually thought the area itself wasn't too bad. I don't think it was a terrible place to be. Wasn't that too dissimilar to Stockport in a lot of ways? So I actually didn't mind it. I actually thought Stevenage wasn't the worst place where we were. There was a good bar as well just off the stadium, which we went in pre-match. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Just a shame about the game. I think that kind of performance in the first half. Okay, we go 1-0 down, a bit disappointing, but that can happen even to the best of teams. The way we responded to that goal going in, we looked a lot better. Again, we quickly got back into the game as well. Callum Camp's brilliant goal somehow got it into that far corner. Beggars belief, to be honest, how that went in. I think I said it in the vlog. How's that gone in? Because from where we were, I didn't actually see the ball roll in because I think our view was slightly. How do I put it? I think someone was in the way. I think there might have been a defender stood in the way, so I actually couldn't see the minute it went in, or the second it went in rather. But obviously you hear the fans get up and start cheering and it's gone in. So that gets us back in, and I think the way we played the first half from that point onwards, it wasn't great. It lacked intensity, of course it did. But it kind of felt a little bit like how a lot of county performances can feel at times, where it feels a little bit slow, but you can just sense that maybe something's brewing. Second half will come alive, we'll get a couple of goals and we'll win this game. And obviously that didn't happen. I think what Stevenage did really well was they took the momentum out of our game. They definitely played on time wasting. They definitely knew when to go down and when not to go down. I think that they had a couple of instances where the ref bought what they were trying to do, and I think that all contributed to ruining the flow of County's game, which inevitably helped Stevenage get that win. So fair play to them, credit to them. They managed to get the 2 goals they needed, and they saw the game out, which I think is important. And whilst I wouldn't want my team to play that, myself, we can take something from the way that Stevenage saw that game out and maybe say, actually, when we're ahead in games, can we make sure that we hold on to it? Not that that's really been too much of a problem for County this season. We do typically. I could be wrong, but it does feel like we don't really often lose leads. I think it's more about how we respond when we go a goal down, and I think that was the problem against Stevenage. I thought we were just going to bounce back, get back in the lead, and win the game, see it out, but that just wasn't the case. But that was last Saturday. Let's try and forget about that. It is 2 defeats in recent weeks. Obviously, Birmingham, it's almost 2 extremes. Like Birmingham, you don't mind because it's Birmingham, especially away from home. They're by far the best team in League One this season. I know the table doesn't currently show that, but I think it will come the end of the season, though Wickham have been brilliant, and so Wrexham as well, to be fair to him. But I think Birmingham are the strongest team, so there's no shame in losing to them, especially away from home. But I think that Stevenage, there is a little bit of shame to that, especially given that I don't think Stevenage played brilliantly, if I'm being completely honest. And I think it's more about how poor Stockport County were. But look, they got the result, fair play to them. Let's just quickly go over the results then in League One. Last weekend, Bolton Wanderers against Wigan Athletic, a 2-0 win for Wigan Athletic. Leyton Orient with a 0-0 draw against Burton Albion. Birmingham City, talk of the Devils, they got a 2-0 win over Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers have made changes in the dugout over the last couple of days as well, I'm pretty sure, in response to that. Charlton Athletic with a 0-0 draw with Mansfield Town. Exeter City losing 2-1 to Barnsley at home. Huddersfield Town, obviously County's Boxing Day competitors, getting a 2-2 draw with Lincoln City. Peterborough United, of course, were due to play tomorrow. They got a 4-3 win over Crawley Town, showing once again that they can score goals but also concede a hell of a lot too. Blackpool got a 3-0 away win over Reading. Rotherham United got a 3-0 win over Northampton Town. Wickham with a 4-1 win over Shrewsbury Town. Of course, Stevenage with that 2-1 win over Stockport County. And Wrexham drawing 2-2 with Cambridge. There's a quick look at the table as well. Obviously, you can see Wrexham dropping into that 3rd spot. Birmingham City slowly but surely looking to take back that top spot. Of course, County in 5th at the moment with a game played more than Huddersfield Town, who we take on Boxing Day. 3 points between the two sides, could we possibly end up making up the difference on Boxing Day? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Barnsley, Bolton, Lincoln, Blackpool, Mansfield and Stevenage managing to creep into that top half of the table for what feels like the first time this season. Bottom half of the table, of course, Peterborough just at the top of that bottom half of the table. Charlton Athletic have dropped down into the bottom half in recent weeks. The same with Exeter. Wigan have climbed up the table by a couple of positions. Rotherham as well, they were 20th a couple of weeks ago. They're now currently 17th in the table. Orient in 18th. Northampton Town dropping to 19th. Bristol Rovers getting a little bit too close to comfort to that relegation zone. Crawley, Cambridge, Burton, Shrewsbury do all make up the bottom 4, as there isn't really too much change in that area of the table so far this season. And if we just have a quick look at the fixtures coming up before Boxing Day in League One, we've got some Friday night football, 3 matches actually for Friday night football in League One coming up tomorrow night. Cambridge United, I've got Huddersfield Town, Stockport County of course hosting Peterborough United. Wickham Wanderers against Bolton Wanderers. The two Wanderers face one another. Who will come out on top in that one? Bristol Rovers will take on Wrexham in the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday, as will Lincoln against Reading, with 3 o'clock kickoffs between Barnsley, Leyton Orient, Blackpool against Stevenage. Burton Albion will take on Exeter City, Mansfield Town against Rotherham United. Northampton Town will take on Charlton Athletic, and Wigan Athletic against bottom of the table Shrewsbury Town. We do then have some Monday night football as well in League One as well, where Crawley Town will host Birmingham City. Not a nice way for them to approach Christmas Day. So there we have it then. We got some games coming up before Boxing Day. Of course, Stockport County, the last game before Boxing Day. County have won their final league game before Christmas in each of the previous 2 seasons. Last season with a 2-1 win over Notts County at Edgeley Park and a 5-0 win over Hartlepool United during the 22-23 season. County's last pre-Christmas defeat came during our final National League season when we faced a 2-1 defeat away to Torquay in December of that year, 2021. The Hatters have won 5 in their last 10 matches in all competitions. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Really. With 3 wins and 2 defeats in their last 5 league games, County have lost just twice at home in the league this season from 10 matches while keeping clean sheets in 6 of those games. Stockport ranked 4th highest for goals scored in League One this season, while this Friday's visitors ranked 2nd with 37 league goals scored. Only Wycombe have scored more than the Posh this season with 43. However, Peterborough have struggled to keep the ball out of their own net too, while conceding 35. Only bottom of the table Shrewsbury have conceded more than Peterborough this season. Peterborough often offer high-scoring games, and in fact, the last time they managed to finish a game 0-0 was back in January versus Lincoln City. Let's face it, this game is not going to finish 0-0. The Posh have scored 12 in their last 5 league games while conceding 9. So they're definitely a little bit up in the air, definitely a bit of a basketball team. I don't know if anyone remembers, Notts County was similar in League 2 last season, could score a ton of goals, but also leaked a lot of goals as well. And I think maybe they started the season quite brightly, actually, Notts County last season, but their defence let them down, and obviously the manager left as well mid-season, went to Swansea. They just continued to fall further and further down the table, and which was a surprise because many had them down as promotion contenders last season. And I think that a lot of people would have had Peterborough down this season as promotion contenders, but in similar fashion, scored a lot of goals, but they just don't have a defence strong enough. They're leaking far too many as well. So I think it'll make for a very, very interesting game tomorrow night at Edgeley Park. As I say, there has to be goals in it, and I just hope County are on the right side of where the majority of the goals will come from. Let's talk a little bit about Peterborough United. Of course, they're managed by Darren Ferguson, of course, the manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. He's been there for what feels like a number of spells now at Peterborough United. I think it could be as many as 3 spells in charge. Correct me if I'm wrong. Possibly seen as a little bit of a similar type of situation to Jim Gaddon, of course, County, who took the job on many, many occasions, stepping in and going back out and then coming back in again, having a very much favoured status by the County fans, held in high regard. And I imagine that would be a similar situation at Peterborough with Darren Ferguson, having had him in in charge of the team for so many times. I've got to imagine that he's very well thought of, certainly by the people higher up at Peterborough who make those decisions, you'd imagine. So let me know, Peterborough fans, am I right? Am I on the right lines? Is Darren Ferguson someone which is very much a favourite at Peterborough, or is that not the case? And how do they assess him? Because obviously, number of spells he would have been more successful and less successful in each one. So just get your thoughts on that one. What's the current situation with Peterborough? With sort of conceding as many as they are, I know they're scoring a lot of goals, but conceding a lot as well. What is the thought on the managerial situation? Does there feel like there needs to be a change, and not necessarily in the dugout, but maybe with coaching staff? Does there need to be changes in the market as well in terms of trying to bring in more defenders or better quality defenders? If there's any Peterborough fans watching, I want to get your thoughts on that one. What is the situation with Peterborough United at this point in time? What I can tell you though is they do have a player with goals in the side, and that is Ricky-Jade Jones. He's Peterborough through and through. Rising through the academy, he'd make his league debut for the Posh in November 2019 versus Burton Albion. Since then, he's gone on to make 171 appearances in all competitions, while scoring 35 and assisting 11. This season has been a particularly strong season so far for the Peterborough-born attacker, with 11 goals across 25 matches in all competitions so far this season. He's definitely going to be a player to keep an eye on tomorrow night. There's no doubt about that one. County have struggled for goals when Louis Barry hasn't scored. We spoke about that before, and of course, so far this season, the on-loan Villa forward failed to impact the game against Stevenage last weekend, and Callum Camps provided the only goal of the game for the Travelling Hatters. Barry did convert from the penalty spot against Exeter to seal 3 points, but also found himself challenged that week when County faced Birmingham City. The Hatters were outplayed by the Midlands side and failed to register a goal. There's a real concern, I think, that County can't compete in this league at the top of the table without a firing Louis Barry. And I think that, as I say, it's heavily expected Barry will move on in January. Where the goal's going to come from? Because Wootton scored just 6 all season in the league in 20 League One appearances. Behind that's Tanto Alafi and Will Collar with 2 each, and we're saying that Tanto Alafi is not firing this season. There isn't enough goals in the team. There's an over-reliance on Louis Barry, which I think is a negative thing. what we had last season was threats across the pitch. Paddy Madden, Tanto Alafi, of course Louis Barry for that brief spell. It felt like, but even Sarcevic could score goals. Nick Powell was a good option. It just felt like we had more throughout the team. Obviously Madden as well, if I've not mentioned him already. This season it does feel a little bit like we've got Louis Barry and that's kind of it. That right hand side, who's the player which is picked week in, week out. There isn't really one. Jaden Fevre, the position was up for grabs for him. He's now injured. Jack Diamond could have that position if he wanted to, but he's obviously not been playing well enough because he's not being picked. So there isn't anyone who you can sort of trust to play on that right hand side, which is I think also probably another reason why we're playing with a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2 if you like. A lot of the time it's because we don't really trust the width of, in the team this season. Cal Woodson, he's a target man, isn't he? He looks to try and bring others into the game, but he's not even been that successful in doing that this season. So his confidence must be shot as well, because not only is he not scoring, he'll know and he'll feel it himself that he's not contributing as much as he'd like to. So I think County are a little bit lightweight. I am worried what will happen if Barry does move on. Even with Barry in recent weeks, we've struggled in some games, the Stevenage game, the Birmingham game. Teams are starting to figure out if you double up on him, where's the threats across the pitch for County. They're not there at the moment. So I think County need to try and find a way to manage that, because we're actually, okay, Birmingham is one thing, but Stevenage, it's an average side to be losing against, really, if you've got ambitions to be promotion contenders. And I know that isn't the expectation this season, but it is what County could do if they had maybe some better players. I know that's kind of an obvious thing, because that would be the case for most teams, but with Louis Barry in the team, we are already in fifth in the table. So you just feel like if you could possibly keep him for the rest of the season, or replace him with someone who's even half as good as him, and then get another player which is half decent on the right hand side, County could challenge for promotion. I suppose then the question would be, was what happens, how do we deal with being in the Championship? But I tell you what, we'll worry about how we're going to deal with hypothetically, how we're going to deal with being in the Championship if we get to that point. Right now, we're fifth in the table. We've got a game against Peterborough United tomorrow. I'm obviously concerned about what's going to happen sort of post Louis Barry. But we have him for now. We've got him for the next 5 games, I think. So, yeah, let's get into team news. Let's talk about maybe, is he going to play, is he not? Of course he's going to play. But let's get into team news, because there is some discussions and talking points to have in this one. As always, we're going to go with what I think Dave Challoner will pick. It's the predicted 11. I think he'll go with Ben Hinchliffe in goal. Might be a bit of a debate in that with mine, but Hinchliffe has been the number one goalkeeper for the last couple of weeks after that 5-0 defeat to Wickham, I'm pretty sure. I think he'll persist with playing Connolly in that right centre-back position, with Horsfall and Ethan Pye, the other 2 centre-backs, Ibi Toure, Savem Hales as the 2 wing-backs, Lewis Bate and Callum Camps as those 2 central midfielders, with Will Collar slightly further ahead, and Louis Barry and Cal Woodson. That's what he's gone for the last couple of weeks. I don't think he'll change too much on that one. I would make quite a few changes, actually. We spoke about it on the Courtyard Club call. What changes do we need to make ahead of Friday? And it's difficult, because there are some players which are just undroppable players. And then the other positions, there isn't really enough competition for places at this point in time. We said that with the performance in Bradford in the EFL Trophy. A second string team didn't really look like anyone in that team was pushing for a place, apart from Jay Mingy, who I thought did well in that first half before being substituted, and I thought he would be an absolute number 1 on the team sheet against Stevenage, and he wasn't. So surprised me, but that's actually talking of what my starting 11 would look like. It would have Corey Addai in goal. It would have Jay Mingy in that back 3 over Callum Connolly, with Horsfall and Ethan Pye, the other 2 centre-backs. I would actually pick Ryan Rydell and Jack Diamond as the 2 wing-backs, with Bate, Camps, the 2 central midfielders, Collar as the attacking midfielder behind the 2 strikers, and I'd actually go with Louis Barry and Tanto Alafi. And I just think that would be a braver team to go with. The team that I think Challoner will pick with is a safe team, it's a predictable team. Obviously it's a predictable team, it's predicted 11, but you know what I'm saying. I think it's a safe team, it's something he's gone with before. And if it doesn't go well, he can say, well, look, I've played this kind of team before and it has worked. He would get more criticism if he picked the team that I'm suggesting. if we were to lose, because it's a little bit more out there. But I think Addai in goal. I think Hinchliffe has not looked at his best the last couple of weeks. And if you're going to be consistent, he dropped Addai when he wasn't looking at his best for Hinchliffe to come in. So be consistent, give Addai his opportunity. It's at home, it's a big game. Hopefully he should have the home crowd behind him, and give him his opportunity, because that's what he was brought in to do. Jay Mingy in that right centre-back position over Callum Connolly. He's so much better than him in that position, in my opinion. He's quicker than him. He's more alert than him. He's just better on the ball as well in every aspect for me. Jay Mingy is a better player than Callum Connolly, and I would play him in that right centre-back position tomorrow night alongside Horsfall and alongside Ethan Pye. Jack Diamond needs minutes. I think this is the opportunity. Give him those minutes. There's going to be spaces to attack in that Peterborough side. There has to be, if they're conceding as many as they are. Let's see what Jack Diamond's all about. Let's give him the opportunity to exploit down that right-hand side. Ryan Rydell is a much better attacking fullback than Ibi Toure, and I think we've got to go for this Peterborough side. I think if we try and play safe, if we try and play defensive, and we try and be too concerned about what they could do against us, I think we'll probably end up not getting the result we want. Rydell, let's attack the game. I know it seems maybe a little bit naive to say that, but honestly, I want to see us go for it. I want to see us bomb down the wings, and cause a lot of threats for them. And Rydell and Diamond, they're going to pin them back a lot more than playing Ibi Toure and Seven Hales. In my opinion, Collar, of course, behind the two strikers, speaks for itself. And then, of course, Louis Barry and Tanto Alafi, those two were on fire playing with one another at the beginning of last season. We've not really seen it yet this season. I want to see it tomorrow night. Let's play them two in a front two again with one another. Will Collar, in that position behind the two strikers, looking to feed a ball in. Two players potentially playing as wide strikers at times as well. Options either side to poke that ball into their box into. That would cause a lot of threats, I think, and it would make for very, very entertaining Friday night football. And exactly what we want before Christmas, an early Christmas present. A couple goals from Louis Barry and Tanto Alafi. That's what I would go with. So let me get your thoughts on that team selection. What do you think of the predicted 11 that I think that Dave Challen will go with, and what your thoughts on the team that I would go with? Be brutal with me if you think it's a terrible decision. But also as well, just before we end this, we're going to quickly go through, and it's going to be shown on the screen. I'm asking the question, what is Stockport County's best formation and best starting 11 when all players are fit and available? As you can see on the screen with what I've gone with, I'm not 100% sure on this, but it's just something I put together. I've gone with Hinchliffe, a back four of Noyle, Toure, Pye and Horsfall, Bate and Camps as the two central midfielders, Nick Powell behind the striker, Louis Barry, of course, on the left, and Will Collar on the right with Tanto Alafi down the middle. That's what I've gone with as County's best 11. I'm not 100% sure on it, so I'm up for debate. I'm up to for people to get their views on that one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. How's it going to go? There's going to be goals either side, isn't there? I think Stockport County are going to win this game. I'm going to say that County win it 4-2, which will be a lot of goals. Obviously, looking forward to the game. So get your score predictions in. Let me know your thoughts ahead of the game against Peterborough United tomorrow. What's your score predictions? There's got to be goals in it. If this is a 0-0 now, then it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Because they concede so many, but also they score a lot. So there's going to be goals in this game without doubt. 4-2 for me. Get your thoughts in. Get your squad team selection in. Let me know your thoughts on the Louis Barry situation. Potentially our first game without him could be Crystal Palace in the Cup. So interested in that one. How many points are County going to take between now and the new year as well? Get all your thoughts in on Stockport County, of course, as we approach this Christmas period. Don't forget to like the video as always. Do get your comments in as well. Subscribe if you are new as well. We're about 20 subscribers off getting to 1,000, which would be a big achievement for the channel if we could reach that by Christmas or New Year. So that's what we're looking to do. So if you're not subscribed already, do make sure to hit the subscription button, of course. And yeah, we've covered everything. So match vlog as well will be out tomorrow night after the game. Looking forward to it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.